Good afternoon and welcome back to NMA TV. My name's Jerry Mullins and we're broadcasting live here at the Las Vegas Convention Center on day 3 of MINExpo 2024. I'm excited to be joined on the set here by Brian Summers, President of the Utah Mine Association. Brian, you know, you've been to a MINExpo before. What are your impressions of this MINExpo so far?
This is great. This is my second MINExpo, and it's just amazing to see all the companies here, the different parts of the industry, the equipment. It's a great experience, and yeah, highly recommend it to anybody that hasn't been before to make sure you're making plans for the next one. So.
When we think about Utah mining, you know, you think about the West and how, you know, miners are probably the group, some of the groups that settled out there in the 19th century. But I wonder if you could give me a deeper understanding of what the culture of Utah mining is, what it does for the state, the jobs, the economy.
Yeah, Utah's been a mining state from its earliest origins. Our first commercial mining district started in 1863, just a few years after settlers got there. And we've got a very proud and diverse industry. Utah's very blessed with a rich mineral endowment, a lot of different minerals we produce in the state. And our modern industry is one of the most important in the state, about 56,000 direct and indirect jobs. Between us and other extractive industries, about a $20 billion industry in our state, about 10% of our state's GDP, and some of the most advanced mining operations that you'll find anywhere in the world. So we're very proud of our industry and the effect that it has on our state.
That's great. You know, in our jobs and as we're supporting the industry, a lot of our work is education, right? And it's education of some very targeted audiences, especially elected officials. I wonder what, we've seen such a focus on reliability and what that means when it comes to electricity generation. How has that message kind of worked around Salt Lake?
Yeah. We've made some amazing strides over the last few years in helping to make sure that Utah stays energy independent. So we're very blessed in that we've got very, very low priced electricity and have some of the lowest electricity prices in the nation, and that's fueled a lot of our economic growth. And our legislators have recognized, especially over the past few years, that some of that reliability can be threatened, especially by federal action, by actions that other states are taking that are within our service area. And so they've made a lot of efforts to try and protect our traditional generation and then to also protect our fuel providers. We're also very blessed as a state that we've got the ability to not only have the traditional baseload generation, but also that we're providing our own fuel. So we're about 2/3 coal powered. We're about another 20% natural gas powered, and we can provide all of that fuel ourselves and really become and stay energy independent as a state. And so our legislature have put a lot of effort in the last couple of years, especially into making sure that there are not things that are happening and on the federal side or on with other states that are going to negatively impact our ability to maintain those low electricity prices and reliability as the state, so we can keep that economic growth going.
Well, we know Southern California really enjoys Utah power.
They do. They do.
So on a similar point, NMA commissioned a study that found the average time to get a mine permitted was 29 years. 29 years. How does that compare with Utah operations in that timeline?
Well, we are a public land state, so a lot of the extraction that happens in Utah is on public lands, and so we're beholden to a lot of those same problems that in those timelines that you talked about. If we do have operators that are fortunate enough to operate in state-controlled lands, then you can get mining operations permitted in a lot more rational timeline. We actually just reopened a coal mine, which doesn't happen very often, just in the last week or so. But luckily, that was a state permitting process, and so that's something that we were able to get through in a much shorter period of time than what that would have been if it were on BLM land or Forest Service land. And so I think that that's something where states need to make sure that they're protecting their rights, obviously, but also trying to get as much extraction, as many exploration and operating mines going on state or private lands, because you do just have the uncertainty that comes with federal control, which is incredibly unfortunate, but it's just the world that we're in right now.
If the pandemic as well as the war in Ukraine have driven home one thing, it's how the supply chains have to be reliable. I was wondering, have you seen any moves by the government recently that kind of address that stability in the supply chain?
Yeah, so in Utah, we're doing a lot to encourage more exploration and production of critical minerals and all minerals that are needed for manufacturing and mineral independence. So we have a number of tax programs that we've supported that would provide post-performance tax incentives for things like exploration, for things like setting up mineral processing facilities, for setting up even the infrastructure that goes into having a heavy industry operation in your state. And I think that part of what we've seen with the efforts of our legislature and the industry to promote these type of activities is partly why Utah was just named by the Fraser Institute as the top jurisdiction for mining in the world. So number one in our policy perception index, number one in the investment attractiveness index, and partly that's because again it is a very mining friendly environment, and we're not just letting we want to make sure that what's happening on the government side is encouraging the type of investment we want to see and ensuring that those supply chains and our national security and our economic security are taken care of, because we're not relying on foreign sources of supply and production for our mineral needs.
Yeah, I would think the Russian uranium ban will be really helpful to miners, uranium miners in Utah.
Yeah, we've actually seen a uranium mine that's reopening this year, and also Utah has the last working uranium mill and the traditional uranium mill in the country, and so seeing uranium prices come up and some of that demand come back to reshoring some of those supply chains has been really helpful in making sure that we keep those assets operating.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, we've got 3 days in Vegas.
Yeah.
We're all going home at some point. What was the experience like for you? What did you really enjoy doing, whether it be in the convention hall or outside it in this great town?
Yeah, and I want to thank National Mining. You guys do such a great job in putting this on. This year we were able, the state associations, to have a little kiosk over in the central hall and having a place for people to find us. And the number of people that have come up and talked about the work they're doing in Utah, people that frankly we didn't know, people that have had past experience in Utah, just meeting all the different people here that have such a passion for this industry and are doing such amazing things to move our industry forward has been really gratifying. So yeah, I appreciate the having this many people together that love mining. It's a cool thing to be part of.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for stopping by and spending some time with us and educating all of us on Utah mining and what that means. Thank you. All right, folks, we're going to take a break right now, but we'll be back later with a panel discussion to really talk about what happened here the last 3 days and how we see it going forward. Stay tuned.